Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Football Fignuts podcast. This is Season 5, Episode 12, and that's 206 episodes. I'm Craig.
And I am a turnip.
And Britt had his flu shot today, and he doesn't know where he is.
I have terrible reactions to every form of vaccine you can possibly give me. And so, like an idiot, I scheduled my flu shot on a day where we're recording. The left side of my body is sore.
And it gave you
my
the
wife
flu.
Says,
right?
It did not give me the flu. I'm not one of those people because that's what everybody says. Oh, but you're complaining for nothing. The flu shot doesn't give you the flu. I didn't say it gave me the flu. What I said was, and Craig loves when I get upset about stuff like this. He just pads the rant. Just go right ahead. It's amusing to me. Yeah. What I said is the vaccines and shots of those nature make me they hit my system. 24 hours from now, I'll be fine. But for the next 24 hours, everything's going to ache. I'm going to live in a world of constant fatigue. And I feel stupid for having gotten it done today. So my wife says I'm like a grumpy old man. I'm just going to shake my fist at the squirrels and yell at them to get off my lawn for a day or so, and then I'll be fine. But we don't have time to hear about my aches and pains. We have a whole nother week of football to go over. But first, let us start where we always start. Craig, what are you drinking tonight?
So tonight, I have this beer that Sean brought back for me. It's from Double. Now, see, the name of the brewery scared me because the brewery's name is Double Barley Brewing. Right.
So automatically you're thinking like barley wine, English style.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to hate this. Yeah.
But
I can see where you're thinking that.
This is called Touché IPA.
Touché.
It is a heavily hopped American-style IPA featuring 5 different hops, well-balanced, easy-drinking beer that pairs well with a variety of foods. This is our go-to beer all year long, so I guess this is one of their staple beers.
You know, can I just interrupt you for a second and say, whenever somebody says this is a go-to beer, it makes me worried. I mean, this is our signature, really? I with the exception of like Two Roads and maybe like Treehouse, I haven't had good experiences with people who are like, this is our signature beer. Okay.
Let's see. It's very light. It don't you hold up to the light. It looks like a lager. It's in a bottle, so there's no special sound effect.
There's no sounds.
Let's see.
And I'm not drinking tonight, obviously, because I think I have the IQ of a turnip already. So, not to mention Sunday, I had fair few beers. Sunday while we were watching football, I made a pilgrimage to Treehouse and came back with some delicious beers. And
they were.
Did you drink anything on Sunday?
I had like 3 of them.
Did you really?
I did.
All right, well, here's the breaking news. I still got like 12 more in my fridge, and I kind of need the space. So are you coming Sunday for football this week?
I believe so.
Great, because I'm bringing beer again. So bring something, but don't bring a ton of stuff because I'm bringing more Treehouse because as much as I love it, I can't. I literally have lost half my fridge to cans of beer.
You need a new fridge. You need a separate beer fridge.
And my wife has been saying this. I've been saying this. It's just a space in our apartment thing, and we're talking about a new place next year. And that is absolutely, last time we moved, my sole thing was get me someplace with air conditioning because our old apartment was so old it didn't have any air conditioning, and you couldn't cool it or heat it properly at all. Right. So I wanted a modern place with air conditioning. Well, now I have that. Now I'm up in my bar a little bit. Now I want a place where I can actually have a mini fridge for my beer. So that'll be next. Okay, I'm drinking soda. Let's hear about this. Let's hear about this beer.
It's very light. When you pour it in a glass, it looks like a lager. It's
light penetration light.
Yeah, it looks like a lager. It is very, very subtle on the IPA-iness, so it's not really bitter at all. It's kind of there. It's kind of there in the background, like, hey, everybody, I'm an IPA. Yeah. But yeah, I can see where they said this is it's a very easy drinking IPA. And I would say this is probably a good, if you are near this brewery, this is probably a good way to introduce someone to IPAs as opposed to giving them like a glass of Road to Ruin.
Oh God.
So this would be a good intro into it, I think.
Is there enough flavor though? When people say it's a lighter tasting IPA, I always feel like lighter tasting IPAs just taste like the Bud Light of IPAs. There's just not enough flavor there for me.
It's very mild compared to the beers that we usually have. But it's there in the background, and it's there with the aftertaste. But it's very subtle.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Let's move on to burning hot takes.
Okay.
All right, so your turn to give first here, Craig. What have you got for me? What's burning on your mind tonight?
So there's a team in California.
Okay, there's several.
There's several teams in California. This team is the Rams, and this team right now is 3-0. Right? Big improvement from last season.
Didn't we call this? We called this.
We did. So
we both said that Stafford would be good. We did.
That's my question to you. So was it? So with Stafford being in Detroit for so long, was it Detroit holding him back? Did he just not have the right tools around him? Because clearly, he's like right now he's probably one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and he's only been with the team for less than a year.
There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer is trying to get away, and Grandpa says, "Slip out the back door. I'll slow down the cops." And when the cops bust in, Grandpa looks at Chief Wiggum and goes, "All right, I confess, I'm the missing Lindbergh baby. Wah, wah, I miss my airplane daddy." And they stare at Grandpa for a minute, and then Chief Wiggum goes, "Are you just senile, or are you trying to delay us?" And Grandpa said, and this is my answer to your question, a little of column A and a little of column B. Stafford made a lot of mistakes in Detroit. There were times where he just looked bad. He threw a lot of bad picks. He looked like he didn't have any pocket presence, etc. He's got to own those bits. Conversely, you could make the argument if he had had more than one receiver in the decade he was there, then he wouldn't have had to throw so many forced balls. He wouldn't have had to hold the ball so long. If they had an offensive line, he wouldn't have had to worry about pocket presence. Mm-hmm. I do think Stafford is not the perfect quarterback. I'm not excusing Matt Stafford, John Matthew Stafford, as his mom calls him. I'm not excusing John at all, but there's definitely some validity to giving the guy weapons and coaching. Let's talk about that. You're not going to fix Stafford's mechanics at this point in his career, but coaching around the way he plays, I think for the first time in his career, he has a head coach who actually knows how to use a quarterback with an arm.
Right.
And that I think matters. So if you're asking me where the 25% of the blame falls on Stafford, 75 falls on the Detroit Lions. And once again, I saw this coming. I said, if you go back to our ranking episodes, I had Stafford higher than everybody else. And I said it then, I'll say it now. I just got a feeling this is a good landing spot for him because he's going to have tools and access to stuff that he's never had before. What do you think? Is this Detroit? Is this location? Is this person? What is it?
Yeah, the same. I mean, he did make mistakes in Detroit. And you're right, the team overall was not good. And then when you're a quarterback trying to win games with a team that is not super good, you do hold the ball too long, and you've tried to force the ball in places you probably shouldn't.
That's it.
But you're so worried about trying to move the ball and scoring that, that becomes secondary. So,
right.
Because you just want to make something happen, and then you wind up trying too hard, and then,
that's exactly it.
Now I think he's, like we mentioned before, he's in the perfect place for where he is in his career right now. So if, injuries aside, I can see him finishing his career in LA at this point. Because
I think so.
He's having an incredible season, and he has the right coach with him. Because how long was Matt Patricia in Detroit? Because here's
Not
the thing,
long.
I don't
think
a
cup of coffee.
I don't think defensive coaches are, not to take away from what they can do on offense, but I don't think they know how to coach quarterbacks usually.
Mm-hmm.
And it really shows if their team is kind of to begin with when they get there.
Right.
But yeah, I think he's in a good spot right now.
So Stafford's first year was 2009.
Crazy, right?
So 2009 to 2020. I'm going to. Okay, so in 2000,
for 8 billion yards.
So he had Jim Schwartz in 2009 through 2013.
Okay.
Then he had Jim Caldwell for 3 years.
Then
he had Matt Patricia.
Yep.
Then he had Darrell Bevel and Robert Prince last year. And then Dan Campbell came in this year and said, adios. So he's really never had, and
he's
they
never
only
had a
made
Sean McVay level offensive coach.
right, and he's only made the playoffs 3 times his career. He's 0-3 in the playoffs, and that's I'm looking at the team stats. It's entirely possible that some of those were injury misses. So I'm just saying. I mean, this is oh my god, it's just so. There's such a that the Detroit Lions are such a sad franchise.
I know they've been around forever. That's what makes
1930.
it. That's what makes it sadder.
1930 was their first year as the Detroit Lions, and they had their last Hall of Fame coach was Joe Schmidt. He retired in 1972.
Wow.
So I mean, they have not had a Jim Caldwell was the last coach they had that was over 500, and he was 563. But no, I mean it's just bad. Patricia was 13-28. Schwartz was 29-51. Rod Marinelli, remember when they brought him in?
Oh,
he was 10-38.
God.
Steve Mariucci was only won 35% of his games there. So I mean, Bobby Ross was there.
I totally forgot Steve Mariucci was there.
Yeah, he was there for 3 seasons, 43 games. He went 15-28. Never made the playoffs. So, all right, for me. I want to bring your attention to one of the games from week 3. Let me pull it up here. I'll do it live because, again, I have a turnip for a brain right now. I want to draw your attention to the final game of week 3, which was the Cowboys and the Eagles. Jerry Jones's Cowboys, presented by Jerry Jones, by the way, and in Jerry Jones's Dallas Stadium. Cowboys put up 41 points on the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bills had not put up 43 on Washington, it would have been the highest performance of the week. The Cowboys are 2-1. Their only loss is to the reigning Super Bowl champions, and it was a close loss. Are the Cowboys for real at this point?
I don't know. I mean, they're better than last year, but
that's not a high bar.
I know it's not. See, that's the thing, and so I don't know. Hold on. Let me see. I don't have
Dak threw for 238 and 3 touchdowns. Dak had a decent night. Zeke is at 95 yards, but you know why Zeke and 2 touchdowns? You know why Zeke didn't break 100 yards? Because they're sharing with Tony Pollard. Zeke had 17 carries. Pollard had 11. That is literally a shared backfield. Zeke averaged 5.6 yards a carry. They both average over 5 yards a carry in that game. They're both really solid.
Oh, let's see. Well, as of right now, let's go down the list of their games and let's see what we have here. So the Cowboys are playing the Panthers next.
Where?
They are playing in Dallas.
That's probably a win.
See, I don't know with their defense. I would put them losing that. But
2 words: Chuba Hubbard.
That's everyone's favorite word.
I'm telling you, he looked good in relief for McCaffrey, but I don't think he can carry this team the way McCaffrey does. And we know Sam Darnold can't carry this team. Well, we know that.
Is Sam Darnold the other Matt Stafford this season?
He might be. He might be a younger, less talented Matt Stafford on a less talented team, but a good team nonetheless. So okay, so I'm going to say, all right. So I'm with Dallas. All right, we can put that as a toss up.
All right. So next they're playing the Giants.
That's a win.
Yep. Then they're playing the Patriots.
Win.
Next they're playing the Vikings in Minnesota.
I'm going to say that's another toss up. So I'm going to go that they're 3-1 right now. Okay. I'll put those 2 games. I'll put Panthers and Vikings as a toss up. They'll win one of those 2 games, but I can't tell you which. Go
on. Next is the Broncos.
Win.
Next would be the Falcons.
Oh God.
The Falcons are so bad.
Yeah.
All right. Then after that, towards the end of November. Wow, they're playing the 21st and then the 25th. That's gonna suck. They're
in
playing
November.
In November because they're playing on it's Cowboys, so they're playing on Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's Sunday, Thursday. Yeah, okay.
So next they're on 21st. They're playing the Chiefs.
Loss.
And then on Thanksgiving,
Chiefs will have it together by then.
Next
Chiefs will have it together by then.
The Raiders on Thanksgiving.
Raiders are better than I thought they were going to be.
They are.
But, I'm giving them a loss against the Chiefs, so I'll give them a win there.
Okay. Then next we have the Saints.
Win.
All right. Next is the I was gonna almost said Redskins. Next is Washington.
Win.
All right. And then they're playing the Giants.
Win. I don't see them losing any divisional games this year.
And then Washington again.
Win.
And then the Cardinals.
Loss.
And then finishing with the Eagles.
Wins. That would be 11-3. That would give them 13-4 on the year. Lets you a margin of error of 2, which means probably 11. Let's say 10 to 13 wins is probably their window in the worst division in football.
Yeah, they're
in the worst
NFC
division
East
in football.
Is not good.
Without a doubt, the worst division in football. Oh, the AFC East is pretty crappy too. Yeah, but no, I don't think it's. I don't think. I think if you total up the wins at the end of the year, the NFC East will have the fewest wins of any division in the league. I just don't see it. I don't see them. I mean, Miami could go to New Orleans, and I think they could give them a game. I don't see the Giants going to New Orleans and giving them a game. I just don't. So I'm gonna say they're probably gonna win 10 to 13 games this year.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
Looking at this list, yeah,
and that's easily enough to win a division.
And the NFC East, it is.
And that might hurt their record chances too, because this is not a joke when I say it's going to sound stupid, but there's a possibility they wrap that division in like week 14. Not even joking, guys. I mean, they could be like 10-3 at that point with 3 games to play, and the next best team only has 5 or 6 wins.
So
it's possible.
So you think their biggest challenges left for the year are, let's just say, the Panthers, the Vikings,
the Chiefs and Raiders,
and the Raiders.
Those are the 4 games that I don't know which way to go on.
And probably the Cardinals. So I'd say those 5.
Oh yeah. So that would be 5 more games. So that would be, if they lost all those games, that would be 6 losses, and that would be 11-7. I'm sorry, 11-6. It would be 11-6. 11-6 is getting you into the playoffs in the NFC East.
Yes.
It's getting you in. You know what could derail all of this? The same thing that derailed last year, injury.
This is true.
That's
injury,
Dak's injury
and COVID, I guess.
Yeah, by the way, can I give a personal shout out and thank you to the freaking Cowboys who targeted Dalton Schultz instead of Blake Jarwin and cost me a pool on fucking Monday night? Can I just do that right now? I had Blake Jarwin in the goddamn captain spot, and I'm like, as long as I don't throw to Dalton Schultz. I woke up, Dalton Schultz has 2 touchdowns. What was his numbers? Schultz has 6 for 80 and 2 touchdowns on 7 targets. They targeted Jarwin twice. Cedric Wilson had more targets than Blake Jarwin.
It would have happened the other way around if you didn't have him in.
That's it.
So
I think Schultz was Schultz was more expensive. I don't know if I could have afforded Schultz in that spot, but anyway. Okay. That was my question for you. What do you got for me?
And the second question would be going back to the beer and Sean. If you look at the Bears right now, the Bears are in disarray.
Yes.
And so I want to know, Mike Nagy, right? No. What's his name? Anyway, Matt Nagy, not Mike Nagy.
Matt Nagy.
You
asking me?
I knew it was an M.
Barely conscious.
It's an M. Okay, anyway, Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
He stated that the quarterback depth chart remains unchanged. So right now, it is still Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, and then Nick Foles. And he is not.
Do you know why?
He is not committed to any one of them. Do you so? In your opinion, is he making it better or worse without naming one of them the starter?
Here's what he is. Here is what he's doing. He is looking at the schedule, and he is seeing they are playing at home against the Detroit Lions this week. He is 150% banking on the Lions coming in there and getting the Bears their first win.
No, the Bears have 1 win.
All right, it's their second win. Getting them back on track against the Lions. Because as we said after week 1 when the Packers lost, nothing gets you back on track like having your next game against Detroit. The problem is, what if they lose to the Lions?
All right, so we did it for the Cowboys. Let's do it for the Bears really quick.
Okay.
All right, so they're playing the Lions.
All right, so they lost to the Rams, they beat the Bengals, and they lost to the Browns, so they're 1-2. All right, I got a win against Detroit. That's 2 total wins.
Okay, next they are going to play the Raiders.
Loss.
And then they are going to play the Packers.
At home, still a loss.
And then they are going to play the Bucs.
In Tampa, loss.
Next, they are playing the 49ers at home.
Loss.
Then they're playing the Steelers.
Loss. Week 10, they're playing the bye. Loss.
Then they're playing the Ravens.
Loss.
Then they're playing the Lions again.
Win.
Then they're playing the Cardinals.
Loss.
And then back to the Packers.
Loss.
And then the Vikings.
Loss.
Then the Seahawks.
Loss.
And then the Giants.
You know what? I'm going to give them a win on the Seahawks because one of these games they're probably going to pull out a win that I'm not expecting. So I'll think that's going to be the Seahawks. So Seahawks win, Giants definitely win.
And then finishing the season with the Vikings.
That's a loss. That puts them at 5-12.
Oh, and then Matt Nagy is fired. Do you think Matt Nagy lasts the season, or do you think he's gone before?
No. I would not be surprised if they fire him on the bye week in Week 10. Because don't forget, in that stretch, I've got them losing to Vegas, Green Bay, Tampa, Niners, and then the Steelers. That's 5 straight losses after this week. And here's what's going to happen. If he loses this week, it's Justin Fields all the way time. He's going to scapegoat Andy Dalton.
Oh, so you think he's going to start Dalton this week, and then if they lose, just blame him.
And go to Justin Fields. Then Justin Fields goes out there and goes 0-5, and all of a sudden, what does that put them at? 1-8 to start going into their bye week at 1-8. They will pull the trigger on Matt Nagy. That's my prediction.
Do they do anything with Nick Foles? Like, do you think he even bothers putting him in? They do have to pay him.
They have to pay him. No, you know what? This is starting to smell. This is so much starting to smell like the Eli Manning situation in his last full year there, where they broke his streak just because they wanted to see what they had in upcoming quarterbacks. This is a desperate coach. He has got to be. If he's not desperate, then he's stupid, because his job is in total jeopardy and complete peril. And if he doesn't see that, then I don't know what. Now, we're saying all this. We can expect a call from Sean tomorrow. Sean is our contributor. He's also a Bears fan. If he has not thrown something violently across the room at everything we've already said, he will call us to yell at us. But he is. And let me tell you guys something about Sean real quick. Sean is a Met fan. I'm a Met fan. Pain is our legacy. Disappointment is our legacy as Mets fans.
In football. I'm the reverse.
But that's the thing. Every year, Sean will come to be like, "This is it, Britt. We've got it. We're going to be great this year. We got this. Oh, this is going to be good. This is halfway through the season. Hey, man, we're still in first place. We got this year. Oh, yeah."
And then it's August.
But when it comes to the Bears, you weren't there for this on Sunday. So we're watching football at his place, and he's got the game on his phone. And I don't even have to know what's going on. Every so often, I just see him shaking his head and going, "Ugh." The eternal optimist, the guy who sits there and every year, despite all evidence, thinks the Mets can rebound, is pessimistic about the Bears.
Yeah.
That's telling to me. If you're an eternal optimist, but you can't be positive about the Bears, then the Bears are really fucked.
Yeah, especially after, I think, Justin Fields had, 2 positive yards?
Yeah.
Total last week? Not good.
So, all right. Let's move on because I'm taking too much time here and I'm seriously starting to think I'm a hummingbird of some sort. Let's play America's favorite game. So if you haven't been here before, America's favorite game is where we give the over-unders to Craig. Or I don't give him the over-unders, but I give him the number of over-unders that are at least 50 plus. Why? Because there is a strong correlation between fantasy performance and teams that score big. Makes sense, right? You score more touchdowns, there's a more likelihood there's going to be players that go big on your team. So we take a look at this every week. Craig will have 3 strikes to tell me every game that has at least 50 points of an over-under. Last week, I nailed this with only 1 strike. Why? Because it was freaking easy. The schedule was so conducive. Craig, this week you have 6 games.
Oh my God.
That have at least a 50 over-under. Tell me one of the 6 games where there's at least a 50 over-under.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, so let's go with Browns-Vikings.
Browns-Vikings is a 53.5. Correct.
Okay.
He's got the first one. So wait, before we go on.
Yeah.
Browns-Vikings 53.5. I like both sides of the ball in this. I mean, if you've got studs in this game, play them. I don't think either team has a spectacular defense. I might even use. I got to look at the values and whatnot. But Alexander Madison comes into mind.
Now, Britt's he's not
going to be cheap. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I have no concerns about starting anybody on either side of the ball. If you're sitting there going, well, I don't know, do I really trust Kirk Cousins? Yeah, in this game I do. Well, I don't know. Do I really want to give the ball? Do I want to really use Nick Chubb? Yeah, in this game you do. In DFS, absolutely. You can consider anyone in this game.
Okay, and what was the total on that one?
53.5.
53.5. Wow.
I didn't pull the line, so I can't do presumptive totals off the top of my head and get those wrong. But
all right,
all these are half points, by the way. Everybody,
of course they are.
Vegas must have had a shitload of pushes because all of these games are a half point. Every game on this list right now, not every game in the week, but every game that's over 50 is some number 0.5. They don't want any ties this week.
Okay, let's see here. All right, let's go with your favorite team, Chiefs and Eagles.
Chiefs and Eagles is the highest of the week at 54.5. What happens when you have 2 teams with really good quarterbacks and no defense? We're going to find out. That's essentially what it is.
It's going to be 68-57.
Jalen Hurts threw 328 yards on the Cowboys in a losing effort, and the Cowboy defense is light years better than Chiefs. This get 54.5. I'll take the over. This game is easily 35-31 at the end of it.
Then you have Deshaun Watson arguing with fans. Not Deshaun Watson. Man, I'm screwing up everyone's name today.
Who are you talking about? Who's arguing with fans?
What's his name? The guy on the Eagles.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you didn't hear about that? He was arguing with fans over Twitter.
Oh, everybody argues with fans over Twitter. Don't get me started. I banned 2 people on Twitter this weekend, but I'm saving that for my final thought.
All right.
So, okay, you got that one right. Again, I'm using folks on both sides of the ball there. I'm not going crazy. Don't go out and pick up Byron Pringle, but you might want to use Mecole Hardman. If you're in a pinch, you could probably use Mecole Hardman.
It's probably cheap.
Start your studs in that game across the board without reservation.
All right. Okay, since we mentioned him before, let's go with John Stafford and the Rams playing the Cardinals.
That is also, sorry, ice cube in my mouth. That's also 54.5. Good job. Cardinals at Rams. No reservations there either. Cardinals defense is better, but I still think the Rams, and I'm not concerned about Darrell Henderson return to practice. I'm not concerned. I would actually prefer Darrell Henderson to sit out at this point because Sony Michel looked okay, and he got the lion's share of touches, and I think Sony Michel is one of those players, and this is why he didn't succeed in New England, is because he gets better the more he gets touches. Look at the games where he had high volume in New England, like there's 2 or 3 of them in the time he was there where he got a ton of touches, and those were his best games. Those are his best games percentage-wise and yards per carry, all that stuff. So I have no problem with starting folks on either side of that ball, too. You're 3 for 3, man.
See. Ooh. All right, let's see. Man, now it's getting harder. All right, it's definitely not the Jets.
This is what I did last week. I went down the schedule. I'm like, okay, I can cross that one off my list.
It's not the Giants.
Ironically enough, they're not even the lowest 2 on the board.
They're not?
Nope, there's a game lower than Giants at Saints. Giants at Saints is a 43.5. There is a game worse than that.
Wow. Oh, man.
There are no games under 42, by the way.
Okay.
The league is expecting scoring left and right, apparently.
I don't know how I feel about this, but let's go with it. Let's go Seahawks Niners.
Seahawks Niners is a 52.5. Wow. That's correct. So I won't use people on both sides of the ball here. I won't go liberal with this game. I think 52.5 is a little high. I haven't liked what I've seen out of Seattle. Seattle should be much better than they are, and that concerns me.
Yeah,
I am going.
Kittle
Go
had
ahead.
a good week last week, finally,
Mm-hmm.
but he's going to be pricey.
Yeah, I'm bearish on that game. I mean, in season long, I've been a big DK Metcalf truther forever, and I'm not selling low on him right now. I am holding. But in terms of DFS, I'm not touching that game. I'm going to probably try to avoid that game at all possible. I don't like the look of it. Doesn't feel good. And I think 52.5 is too high of a line. I think that game comes in the under.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Two
more. Okay. Let's go with the game that I'm sure the media is going to hate. Let's go Bucks Patriots.
Bucks Patriots is your first strike. That's a 49.5.
Oh,
49.5, right on that line. And the reason that's a 49.5 is because the Patriots have no chance of scoring more than 20 points. No
probably
chance.
Not. I mean,
their offense is. I mean, one of my friends who is a Patriot fan posted on Facebook this week. So a shout out to Mark. Mark posted on Facebook this week that every time he goes to Dunkin' Donuts, all he sees is New England Patriot logos everywhere. They're all in on the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
So in honor of the New England Patriots, when they hand me my cup of coffee, I'm going to drop it. And I was just like, oh my God, that was too good right there.
That's good.
So, all right. So you got 2 strikes and 2 left.
Damn it. All right.
Don't overthink this.
It's not the Texans, and it's not the Bears.
Okay.
Man. I already said the rain. Let's go. Because the quarterbacks are the hot hand. Let's go Raiders Chargers.
Raiders Chargers is absolutely correct. That's a 52.5.
Wow.
52.5, the same as Seahawks Niners. I'm a little more bullish on this game. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. A lot. If you're using Eckler, it's because you think he's catching passes. I'm probably not going to touch the quarterbacks, but there are receivers who I'd be interested in here. I mean, Keenan Allen is going to do well. I mean, he's a stud. He may be the self-proclaimed best wide receiver in AFC. Doesn't mean he's not a good wide receiver. And the Raiders are throwing the ball all over the place. A certain someone who shall remain Craig sent me an offer today trying to acquire Hunter Renfrow, and that was not going to happen. He is gonna. And I'm not opposed to selling Renfrow. I will sell on Renfrow because right now is a great time to sell high on Renfrow. But I don't remember what you offered me. It was like I don't want that.
Sell on Chase Edmonds.
You know what? I can't. And I think that's what killed that deal because that was what you wanted, right? Was Renfrow and Edmonds?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't sell on Edmonds because McCaffrey's out.
Oh, that's
Edmonds
right.
goes into my starting lineup.
You have McCaffrey.
So, and I didn't get Chuba Hubbard because in the live league, the league that Craig and I are talking about, Chuba Hubbard went in like round 7. One of the guys came way up to get Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Was extra out of nowhere. I was having that conversation. I had that conversation with Sean the day before. And he said to me privately, he said, when do you think Chuba Hubbard goes? And I said 9-10 earliest. I said, he's got a lot of upside. McCaffrey has an injury history. But in the 7th round, you're still drafting starters. You're still looking at starting players. There are still wide receiver 2 on the board. You are not drafting a stash and hope guy in round 7, and then one of our guys in our league went and did it. Now, he was right. He was right. Chuba Hubbard is probably going to get the start for him this week, but it doesn't make it the right move. And that's the thing. It was the wrong move. He's going to get away with it. I'm going to check and see if he's starting Chuba Hubbard. I'm opening that right now. But yeah. So I can't remember how did I get on this? What was I? Where am I?
Oh, because I picked the Raiders and Chargers, and Renfrow.
Yeah, and I can't. I'm looking right now. Oh my God, he's not even starting Hubbard. Oh my God, really? Wait, is Hubbard not projected? Hubbard's projected for 13 points. That's it?
Yeah, maybe.
Where's my projections? That's CBS's projections. Where's my projections? Chuba Hubbard's got to be higher than that. I've got him for 15. Because I'm looking at the dude who has him. He's starting Nick Chubb, okay. Jonathan Taylor, okay. Indy isn't as good as we thought we was going to be. And DeAndre Swift. I don't start DeAndre Swift over freaking Chuba Hubbard.
I don't know. DeAndre Swift finally played last week the way everyone thought he was going to.
You would start DeAndre Swift over Chuba Hubbard this week with McCaffrey out?
That would be a tough call. All I know is I had Swift on my bench last week and I lost because I didn't know he was going to play.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So there's one more.
One more, and you got 2 strikes.
All right. So let's go with the teams that I picked. Was the Chiefs game, right?
Yep. You have Chiefs Eagles done.
Right.
You have Cardinals Rams done.
Okay.
You got Browns Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
You got Seahawks Niners.
Mm-hmm.
You got Raiders Chargers.
Yuck. All right.
Yeah.
Since we just talked about it, because I can't see the Jaguars are not probably going to score a lot. The Jets are not going to score a lot. Washington is probably going to win, but I don't see that game going over 50.
Atlanta's look really clueless. I got to be honest. Just clueless.
Let's go. All right. Let's just go Panthers, Cowboys.
Panthers Cowboys is correct.
Wow.
Big win for Craig. That's a 50.5. That is right on the line. Panthers Cowboys, and this leads into what I was talking about. The reason I brought up the Cowboys is because they scored 41 points by themselves. This is a 50. Even without them, if the Cowboys put 35 up, can this game go 35-16? Oh, sure.
Sure.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I would take the over on that. I think Chuba Hubbard is going to – I think he's going to be a big part of what they're going to try to do. You can argue whether or not it'll be successful. I don't know, but I think it's going to be a big part of what they do. So, yeah. Yeah, so congratulations. Craig wins America's favorite game, which leads us right into the metric. Believe it or not, we're already 40 minutes in. So, all right. So I said to the metric, how was your week 3 DFS? Were you profitable?
I was. I had
2 weeks in a row. You outpaced me.
My main lineup scored like 177.
Oh my god! I'm just gonna start using your lineups. No, I don't want to curse you with that, but last 2 weeks I've been off to tremendous starts. Like I had 3 lineups that scored between 145 and 150, and none of them cashed.
Wow.
And that's right around 150 is usually where I get upset if I don't cash. And I didn't get to 150, but I was just kind of like, all right. I'm off to a rough start this year, but that's okay. We can turn it around this week. So I said to the metric, I need a reliable quarterback that's going to score a ton of points and get me value. And the metric said use Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford, I've got him pegged for 25 points. His salary is $7K. That's a metric value of 3.6x. That's a solid play. Here's your problem. He's $7,000.
That's a lot.
So I said to the metric, give me somebody who's value. And the metric said Justin Fields. And I went, wait a minute. We don't even know for sure that Justin Fields is starting. But they said, well, if he does start, he's only 5,200, which means he only needs 16 points. Now, the problem with using Justin Field and only getting 16 points from him is that's a lot of points you got to make up somewhere else. You get a lot of money to do it with. It's an extra $1,800 to do it with, but that's a lot you got to make up. So here's what I'm doing. I am going to keep an eye on the Justin Fields situation, but I'm probably not going to use Justin Fields this week. I'm probably going to use Matt Stafford in a lot of lineups, like a lot. I'm also going to keep a close eye. I know he's 8,100, but Patrick Mahomes, I have a feeling there wasn't a point last week where Patrick Mahomes was absolutely screaming at the offense to figure this out. Like he had the entire offense around, and it was a pep talk, but you could tell there was unpleasant language going on in that huddle. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but it also wasn't you guys are the worst team ever. So I think Patrick Mahomes is going to come out like a firestorm. So I'm probably going to use a lot of Stafford. I might have a share of somebody like Fields. I might reach for just a Derek Carr at 5,900, but that's going to be unlikely. Those are the two guys. If you want veteran numbers, Derek Carr's 5,900 and Garoppolo is 5,600. But if you just listen to the last segment, I don't have faith in either of them. Those are the two games I'm avoiding like the plague. So help me out. Who are you using this week? Who are you like in DFS at quarterback?
So I'm big on, like I mentioned before, I'm big on Stafford this year. He's at 7,000, so he's still at the range. He's expensive, but he's not, he's not like, 8,500. So he's still very usable. What I know, and you just mentioned him, I really like Derek Carr this week playing the Chargers because Derek Carr, but I don't know, Derek Carr is just it looks like he's having a really good season finally, and he's 5,900. So,
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
But,
he is true value.
They're playing Monday night, so they may not, he's not available for the main slate.
So,
but still.
Yeah, so main slate, he's not going to be available either. So, that's part of it too. Oh my God, that Monday night showdown slate's going to be epic.
That's going to be bananas.
Chargers, Raiders, you're going to need 175 points to cash in a double up. I'm not joking. Well, those tend to be higher anyway. Yeah. Because people play them more like tournaments because shorter number of games equals smaller. You have to take bigger risks. But yeah, don't be shocked. I mean, typically first place in games like that in a 50-50 is 230, maybe 240. Don't be shocked if you see a 275 on some jackass who says, you know what, I'm going to put Darren Waller's third backup in the captain spot because he's only $100.
He's going to catch one touchdown for 25 yards.
Yeah, he gets targeted 6 times because something happens to Waller. Waller rolls his ankle, and they decide to keep him out as precaution. All of a sudden, the number 3 tight end has 3 catches for 75 yards in the touchdown, and he's at like 7,000x. What is that? 3 for 75? That would be 10.5. Then that would be 16.5 points.
Yep, it's say like $100 or some ridiculously cheap number. Yeah.
That's 16.5 divided by 0.1. That's 165x. And then all of a sudden that guy's winning because the rest of his pool is all going to be the front line guys.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to running backs. So I said to the metric, if I'm spending up at quarterback, I need to save money at running back. He said, don't worry about it. I got you. You're going to use Derrick Henry. How am I using Derrick Henry at 8,800? But he's going to have 29 points. Okay, that's great. And yes, it's at the Jets. And yes, he should have a massive game. Here's what's going to limit Derrick Henry's game. It's the Jets. He needs all those points in the first 3 quarters. Because in the fourth quarter, he's sipping tea. That game is going to be 35-6. The defense is going to be running over the Jets. Tennessee is going to be comfortable, and Derrick Henry is going to get in on the bus. Don't be shocked if Derrick Henry is showered and on the team bus when the fourth quarter starts because the Jets are getting beat that bad. So I'm kind of bearish on Derrick Henry this week. So I said, give me somebody else. He said Joe Mixon, and I said that I can get behind.
Hey, I can get on the Joe Mixon train. Running back in the league right now.
And he's number 2 in terms of points on my board this week. It's a bad week for running backs this week. The only guy who I have over 20 points is Derrick Henry. Joe Mixon's, I got him slated for 19 points. That's at 6,500. Well, that's not value. It's right on the line.
It's close.
And I think they're going to run all over Jacksonville. The only thing shocking to me is the next guy down on my list is even cheaper, and that's David Montgomery at 5,800. So if I'm paying up for running back, I'm probably using Mixon and Montgomery. A lot. Like a lot. So who do you like this week?
So this week, because you're right, because Mixon's playing Thursday tomorrow.
Crap. That takes him out of the main lineup.
Montgomery, his problem is he's on the Bears.
But it's Detroit.
It is true. It is Detroit. That is true.
And they're scared to throw the ball no matter who the quarterback is.
But 2 people I'm looking at, and don't be upset, only because these defenses are not good, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Miles Sanders. Because they're both
in the same game.
In the same game, and they're both right in the middle. So I think, Clyde Edwards is 54, and Miles Sanders is 64.
Can we take a quick? I know we're short on time. We'll go a few minutes over today, but can we just take a quick momentary victory lap? That last week, everyone and their mother, the New York Post was putting out articles: trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire now, bench Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had 95 yards and a touchdown. Yes, he fumbled again. Okay, Tiki Barber used to go through these little bouts of fumbling too, but I'm going to say it right now: we were fucking right not to panic on Helaire.
That's right.
The Chiefs lost a close game where they passed a lot, and Helaire still got fed. Do not panic on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know how much more clearly we can say this.
Yeah, we'll have to make a billboard, I guess.
I feel like we have to do it. He averaged 5.9 yards a carry last week.
That's a lot.
17 carries for 100 yards, 5.9 yards per carry. Well, his touchdown was receiving. Still got in the end zone.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, if the guy who owns Helaire in our league, and it's not somebody I think I could call and trade with because he knows I love Helaire, but if he called me right now and said, I'm looking to move Helaire, I just don't feel good about it, I would make the deal. I would make the deal. If he called me right now and said, send me McCaffrey for Helaire straight up, I would probably do the deal.
Wow.
Not because Helaire is better than McCaffrey, but because McCaffrey is already hurt. He's going to miss at least 1 week. Who knows how many weeks he's going to miss?
And who knows if he's going to get hurt again.
And yeah, I mean, so yeah. All right, all right, I'm done with that. All right, moving on. All right, so I see that. I don't mind Helaire. I've never been a big Miles Sanders guy, but I've got him at 16 points, and I think that's doable too. So, all right, wide receivers. Okay, listen, if I'm spending up at quarterback and I got to pay for Derrick Henry, you got to give me something I can use. And the metric said Darnell Mooney. The metric has said Darnell Mooney every week this season so far. Every single time. Do you know how many times he's made value?
How many times?
Exactly 0. In the first week, he had 12.1 points. Okay, that was close. Last week, he had 1 catch for 25 yards. 3.5 points. The metric wants, I don't know why my simulations keep bringing this up. It's 12.7 points. I'm not touching him. No. I will touch him only in the most desperation. So I said, give me something better. Jacoby Myers. No. Well, he's only 5,200. Next. Jalen Waddle. Okay. I'm not a big Jalen Waddle guy, but at 4,900, he's doable. The guy I'm really targeting this week, you're going to love me. I'm targeting Jamar Chase. 5,900. I've got him for 17 points, and I think that's a conservative estimate.
Rookie of the week last week.
I think he has a possibility. He has a ceiling of 20 to 22. I like him. I like Laviska Shenault in that game because I think that they're going to try and start targeting him now that defenses are starting to figure out what Jacksonville is doing. I think they're going to start going to Shenault as an outlet option. He's been really quiet to start this year.
He has been.
And thusly, he's down to 4,200. It's not that I think Chenault's going to go off. I've only got him pegged for 12 points, but he's only 4,200. He had 4 catches for 100 yards last week. His targets have been going down, but his catches have been going up. That should tell you something. Okay, so those are the guys I'm looking at. I'm looking at Jamar Chase. I'm looking at Laviska Shenault as value odd options. I'm done talking about Darnell Mooney. So, what do you like this week?
If I'm using Stafford, I might pay up for Cup.
Where do we have Cooper? Oh, we have him at 19 points.
Yeah, he's 7,800.
He's 7,800. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Bob Woods, he is 5,300, but right now Stafford isn't targeting Woods as much as Cup, so that is the issue. But Woods is much cheaper.
Who's really disappointing to me?
Who?
Rondale Moore is up to 4,600.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, the kid's off to such a great start, and I know, but I mean, he was such a sneaky option in week 1, and now I mean, he's catching everything. Keep in mind, Rondale Moore has been putting up decent numbers. He's only been targeted 15 times, but he's caught 13 of them. They don't miss. When they go to Rondale, they connect.
True.
And that's the thing. So he's only got 183 yards and 1 touchdown through 3 games, but it's only because he's catching at 86%. It's crazy. All right, go on. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. And then, I kind of, and he's he's playing Thursday. I do like Tyler Boyd because right now T. Higgins is still out. So
yeah,
Tyler Boyd is 5,200. So that's another option if you are playing a Thursday game.
I think Boyd's going to draw a lot of attention, and that's going to open up Jamar Chase a little bit. I don't think they have anybody who can keep up with Jamar Chase if they send him down the field. I think if you line him and Boyd up right next to each other, put Chase in the slot, and just tell him to take off,
true,
and just have Boyd run a basic out and in kind of route, all of a sudden you're going to find out that the guy who has to cover Chase is going to be caught on his heels because Boyd's going to make that cut, and for half a heartbeat. They just traded one of their cornerbacks for Dan Arnold. He stutters one step.
That's right. They did.
Jamar Chase is gone. And it was a guy they weren't happy with. I'm drawing a blank on the kid's name. He was second year. They weren't happy with him. But that's all it takes is one sidestep to say, wait a minute, this might be an in route to Boyd. I better just creep. I'm gonna take one half step here instead of a full step, and Jamar Chase is gone.
True.
And then it's a matter of can Burrow hit him, and Burrow is hitting him more and more, and that's why I like Chase in this. I don't like Boyd because I think Boyd is going to be, and if they overcommit to Chase, then you're right, they're going to target Boyd because Boyd's going to have one-on-one across the middle in situations like that, and I think they're going to do that a lot. Go out 10 yards and cut, and Jamar Chase, you just keep going wherever the help doesn't go. That's where I'm targeting.
Joe's throwing it exactly. So
it's still like a 3-second drop. It's less than a 3-second drop for him to make a decision, and it's an easy decision to make. You see that second guy over there, the one wearing number 40 something? Wherever he goes, you don't throw there.
Exactly.
Because they are not. Chase is too fast, and Boyd is too sure-handed for you to risk it. They're going to have to
pick
commit.
One. Yeah.
They're going to have to commit. Now the only thing you can do then is you got to bring your free safety across. You see that lineup, and you see the two of them next to each other, and you think that's what they're going to do. You got to have that free safety creeping over, and he's got to pick up Chase. Now it's a timing situation. Now you audible at the line, and instead of tearing down the field, Chase tears down the field for 20 yards and stops right in between the two defenders. And he's like, all day, bro. All day, bro.
Pretty much.
All day.
It's been working. It has been working.
It's doable. You have the tools to do it. Those 3 guys are the tools you need. All right, I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. So I like those picks. I like those picks a lot. All right, so I went to the metric and I said, talk to me about tight ends. And they said, Jack Doyle all day long. And I went, Jesus Christ. Can I have 1 year where Jack Doyle does not creep to the top of the metric for reasons I cannot understand?
He does every year.
Every year, Jack Doyle ends up at the top of the metric. Every year. So now I'm thinking to myself, did he have a good game against Tennessee? No, he had 1 catch for 10. So what on God's green earth makes my algorithm think he's going to have a good game against Indy? I don't know. I don't know. But he is uber cheap. Hold on, I just lost it on my computer screen. He's 2,700. If you're spending up everywhere else, all you need from Jack Doyle is 8 points. 8 points. And you're 8.1 technically, but yeah, 8 points. Can he get 8 points? Probably.
Maybe.
Are there better options out there?
Is Wentz back?
Oh yeah.
He's back. Okay.
No, wait, no. I've got Jacoby Brissett starting. Sorry, I've got Jacoby starting. Maybe is that old info?
No, I think you're right.
No, I've got Wentz. I've got both Wentz. Why are they both in the metric? That's a little odd. I have them both ranked. Okay, maybe, and I ran these numbers this morning. I'm a vegetable now. I think I ran what if situations for both of them. Like what if Wentz starts. He was active for the Titans, and there's nothing in here that says he's going to start this week. Wentz is going to start this week.
No, well, because Brissett is starting for the Dolphins, that's why.
Oh, geez, that's why I'm getting myself confused. I got the wrong team in my head. Oh, my God.
He was
I need to go to bed. All right, so Wentz is back. I'll use him if I have to, but I'm gonna try not to. Other options at tight end: Evan Ingram, 9 points against New Orleans, but he could also not play any given moment. I really don't like anybody. If you want to really reach, and this is such a kind of, I would not recommend this. Tommy Tremble in Carolina. They've been using him out of the backfield. They've been using him all over the place. He's still only 2,500. He gets one touch that turns into a score and he's in value, but that's a real desperation play. I'll probably play Doyle over that. So I don't know what to do this week in tight end. Craig, help me figure out the tight end.
So in tight end this week, the one, because he's kind of like, he's towards the lower end. He's 3,600. It's Dawson Knox. He's having a really good year. Against Houston, yes.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because then you're looking at Waller. He's 7,100. Kittle,
he did have 4 for 49 and a touchdown against Washington.
Kittle's 59, so that's a possibility. But I'm not gonna. Maybe in it, if I do it captains, I would look at Kelsey, but he's 8,100. I don't think I can.
Yeah, he's way too expensive.
I don't think I can spend
way too expensive.
So
you know what? It's interesting, and I know it's a small sample size, but I'm looking now at his stat sheet. You know what's different? Dawson Knox.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's different? Last year, he caught 54% of his passes. The year before that, he caught 56. This year, he's catching 83.
Holy shit.
He's only got 12 targets. Okay, again, small sample size. We're talking 3 games.
But still.
But he's been targeted 12 times. He's caught 10 of them. He only dropped 1 pass last week, and I don't know the nature of that pass. Maybe. So the question is, his target share is somewhere between 3 and 5 a game typically. Are they going to, if he gets targeted 5 or 6 times a game, he's going to be value.
Yeah.
I like that pick. How much was he?
36.
3,600? I like that way better than spending 2,700 on Jack Doyle unless I absolutely need that $900 somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're really, spent up on receiver, let's say. Oh, and then really quick about receiver. Titans, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown might miss the Jets game. I don't know who their other receivers are.
Seriously?
Yeah. Do
they even have anybody else?
They both have hamstring issues.
Well, Gage. Is Gage going to play? Atlanta Falcons.
Titans.
Depth chart.
Titans.
Oh, that's right. I need to go to bed. That's why I'm talking about Russell Gage here. I'm thinking the frickin', oh my God. Get your flu vaccine, folks. Okay, well, Chester Rogers.
Who?
He's listed as the starter because they start a 3 wide receiver set. But let's see, other names. Nick Westbrook Ekine. I can't even pronounce his name right. Josh Reynolds, Cameron Batson. Oh my God. Any of these guys could potentially go off.
I sort of remember Josh Reynolds.
But you know what?
Not so much.
I don't know. You know what? That makes me think. Remember I said Derrick Henry might be in the bus in the fourth quarter? That makes me rethink that stance.
He might be in the whole game, possibly.
Or do they get so far ahead that you really want it? You want a deep reach? What about Jeremy McNichols? He's the backup running back.
Wow, I don't know.
He's got 5 carries for 18 yards this year. That's epic numbers. The backups touched the ball 5 times in 3 games. He's averaging 1.3 carries a game. Oh my God. You know what? Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely going to fade Tannehill now. I might just avoid their passing game altogether. And if I'm going to take anybody, I'm going to take Henry. Good call.
In that game, yeah.
Yeah. Good call. So, all right, really quick. Defenses. We're way over time.
Pick one.
Defense is draft one. The metric says the Jets are the way to go.
I mean,
because they're only $2,000.
And if both of those receivers are out, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the other option, which is the one I'm looking at, is the Colts. They're at Miami. I've got them targeted for 7 points. They're 2,700. That's probably the one I'm going to go with. But in a pinch, if I need to save that $700, I'll save that $700 and go with the Jets over the Colts. I'll tell you this: we just talked about using Dawson Knox over Jack Doyle, even though it costs us $900. If I'm $200 short and I can get there with Dawson Knox by using the Jets instead of the Colts, I will downgrade from the Colts to the Jets to upgrade from Jack Doyle to Dawson Knox. I will do that in a heartbeat. Who do you like at defense this week? Does anybody jump out to you?
So this week, yeah, I always tend to try to go cheaper on defense. Last week, I used the Bengals defense a lot. This week, honestly, after seeing them play last week, and they really should not have lost that game, is the Lions defense playing Chicago.
That's not a bad call.
They're 2,200. I mean, they came very close to. I mean, and if you watch the replay, they probably shouldn't have. They should have got that delay of game call, but
right.
And
let me be clear, guys. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, finish.
They held the Ravens in check pretty well. So
I apologize. I've stepped all over you all episode. So you just
right.
go.
I think they can. I definitely think they can do with the Bears, seeing as the Bears are in such disarray right now.
I can see that. What I wanted to chuck in is people are going to sit there and go, well, wait a minute, Buffalo, Houston. You got to start the Buffalo defense against Houston, right? Yeah, if you want to pay up for it. It is the best defense on the board, but it's also 4,300.
That's a lot.
I've got them targeted for 8 points. Defenses don't project for a lot. In DraftKings, they can score you 20, but they can also score you -10. So I tend to play very towards the middle. Do you want to pay $4,300 for a guy who's got a baseline of 8 points, or $2,700 for the Colts at 7 points? I'll save the $1,600 and take the extra and lose 1 point there. Because that $1,600 can be funneled somewhere else. So what I'm hearing is we're saving it defense and tight end so we can spend up to get Derrick Henry and better quarterback play.
Yes, in those words.
All right. Sounds like a plan. I think I get on board with this. We got to move on to final thoughts. We are way over time. Craig, what's your final thought this week?
My final thought this week is, for right now, it's going to be the same as last week, where don't overreact on things. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, perfect example. Don't overreact on things these, various media outlets say, because they all say the same thing. Because being a Bengals fan, after watching that Bengals-Steelers game where the Bengals won in Pittsburgh, you know what everyone's topic was? Oh, well, Big Ben, it's because Big Ben's done. That's why they lost. It wasn't about how good the Bengals were compared to how bad the Steelers were. So, just don't overreact to what people say, and then, make your own decisions with your fantasy teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. My final thought is just, if you didn't hear the news, if you're not, air quotes, in tune with the industry, Mike Tagliere of Fantasy Pros, we lost him last weekend at age 39 to COVID-19. Our thoughts are with his family and his wife in particular, Tabby. She posted the news on Twitter. Reaction came in from all over the place, and we were very sad to hear about this. If you don't know Mike Tagliere, he was known as Tags to most of us in the industry and most of us who listened to him. He was with the Fantasy Pros for a while. He did a couple years with Pro Football Focus before that. I can remember listening to him on Sirius XM. I believe he did the Pro Football Focus show before Jeff Radcliffe did, or he did it with Jeff Radcliffe. But he was a great analyst. He was vaccinated, and he was a former smoker as well. And that was, I think, those kinds of things. That's why you don't mess around with this COVID stuff. So our thoughts are with him. I also want to kind of put out there that we banned 2 people this week on Twitter from our page, one of which who came out and started spewing nonsense about the vaccines causing heart failure, and that was clearly what happened here. Was that, I think the exact words were, we can infer he died from a heart attack. No, we can't infer anything. COVID is a terrible disease that we know terribly little about, because guess what, folks? While we've been dealing with it for over a year and a half, we only have a year and a half's worth of data on it. We're still trying to figure out the best things we can do for it. So we banned that asshole, and I will clearly call him an asshole on the air. I hope he's listening, and if he is, you're an asshole. And when we banned that guy on the air and put our line in the sand and say, listen, don't politicize COVID vaccinations on our Twitter feed, I immediately got a response from somebody who told me that this was left-wing communist bullshit, that you, if you don't agree with somebody, you censor them. And so the ban hammer came out again. And that guy got an instant ban, and I had to put out there again, listen, we lost a person here. This isn't about political leanings. This is about a guy who wanted to be there to take care of his family, who did the right thing and got the vaccine and still ended up dying from it. Our thoughts should be with them, and our thoughts should be, keeping ourselves and everyone else safe, not bullshit about what your political leanings are. And that really, really triggered me on Sunday. Now, Craig has always been on our podcast the voice of reason. I get triggered easily and often. Craig is usually the one who's like, all right, settle down. Don't overreact. Don't put anything up on Twitter. I showed these two posts to Craig on Sunday, and his text back to me was, what the fucking hell? And that's when I went, all right, you know what? We're going to let the ban hammer swing wild and free today because it's just not appropriate. You guys sit there and tell me, well, you're just going to ban me for my opinion. I like nachos is an opinion. Nachos cause an incurable disease is not an opinion. It's a falsehood.
True.
This is what drives me nuts. Well, I'm entitled to my opinion. Okay, what's your opinion? My opinion is that watching Star Wars causes your balls to shrink. That's not an opinion. That's just straight up bullshit. You have no evidence. Show me evidence that says anyone has ever had shrunken testicles from watching a Star Wars movie. Although I think I did get close in Attack of the Clones because that was just so much political intrigue and the epic story of my brother halfway through that movie when they're on Naboo and they're making kissy face at each other. And my brother literally looked at me in the theater and went, when is somebody going to lose a hand? Because he was here for Star Wars. He was here for lightsabers and battles and good versus evil, and he's getting fireside chats. And that what drove him nuts. So if anything's going to shrink your balls, that would be it. But the bottom line is, don't mistake misinformation for opinion. You're entitled to an opinion. You're not entitled to spread rumors about a dead guy and then blame other people for it. Exactly. Tags deserves better than that. And that's why I wanted to bring that up today. It pisses me off that we just lost one of the best analysts in the business. And if you didn't read his stuff, you should. He used to write a weekly article called The Primer that I read every fucking week. It was so good. So good, his work. And we've lost him to COVID. And then you're going to add insult to injury by trying to turn it into your personal stand where you can sit there and say whatever the fuck you want. Not on my page. This is a hard line in the sand for the Fignuts team. And that's what I said when I sent out the text to everybody. This is a hard line in the sand for us. We're not going to let that. So rest in peace, Tags. Thank you for all your work. Our wishes are with your family. There is a GoFundMe set up by Fantasy Pros. You can find it by going to the Fantasy Pros website or by going to the Fantasy Pros Twitter. It has gratefully raised a ton of money. I was more than happy to push the donate button on that one ourselves. So on that somber note of don't be an asshole on Twitter, which I feel like we have that, like, God, it's got to be like 3 times a year. My final thought turns into don't be an asshole on Twitter.
Yeah. So, I mean, wait, so does that this past Sunday, does that count as 2 times or is this 1 time?
No, well, I'm only ranting about it once. I'm getting value here. This is a 2 for 1. This is a 2x rant. You're getting 2 rants out at the same time. But I mean, guys, I don't understand it. And that comes from a guy who is admittedly a screaming liberal himself, has all sorts of political opinions. When somebody dies, it's not the time to start talking about your bullshit. It's not. Anyway. Oh, yeah. One last quick thing regarding the GoFundMe. I also shared it on our Twitter. So if you go to Fignuts DFS on Twitter, number 1, don't at me with bullshit. Number 2, if you scroll down a couple of posts, you'll find the GoFundMe link. Please feel free to go check that out. The other thing you should check out is whatever podcast directory you listen to, you should leave us a review. We're listed on several, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You see what I did there? I listened to a couple podcasts this week.
That was good.
And instead of the guy listing them off, he was just like really professionally sounding, reading a script, and he was like, whatever podcast directory. So I just kind of stole that.
Nice.
Oh shit, we're still live. Whatever podcast directory you're listening to us on, leave us a review. It only takes you a minute, but it helps us promote the podcast and keep doing the wonderful work we're doing. Also, reach out to us on Twitter. Reach out to us on Facebook. We are the Football Fignuts Podcast there. And you can also reach us by email by emailing fignutsdfs@gmail.com. All right, I'm out of breath. I'm literally a potato sitting in a chair talking into a microphone. I need to go to bed. Craig, thank you for all your work this week,
Thank
thank you
you.
for your excellent work today because I needed it. So
Thank you.
we'll be back next week for week 5. Enjoy week 4. Make some money. Until then, my name is Britt the Potato.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts podcast. Hi, Deb.